Alien 8 UK.
Welcome back. You found it again. The UFO Files. Broadcasting round the clock on Alien 8 UK. Red-eye listeners, insomniacs, sky watchers, van drivers on the long haul. You're tuned to the only station that stares back at the dark with you. 24 hours, we circle the same old questions. Lights over the north, shadows over the south. Phone lines open, headphones on, blinds half drawn. I got case notes spread like takeaway menus. Highlighters bleeding through until sunrise. Coordinates scribbled on coffee stained napkins from a truck stop somewhere near the east coast. We don't do jump scares here, we do the long stare out the window at 3:33 a.m. when the estate's asleep and the sky feels too crowded. You call him with that voice, half whisper, half there. First time chatter, long time watcher, and the hairs rise on every neck in frequency range. Maybe it's satellites, maybe it's stories we tell, so we're not alone in these flickering terraces and rented rooms. Either way, keep your dial right here. This is the UFO Files. Alien 8 UK. All night, every night. Welcome back.
Signal acquisition initiated. Cross-referencing anomaly archives. Pattern recognition complete. Aether 8 online. Proceed.
Hello. Welcome to Alien 8 UK, the UFO Files. Hello, Abby.
Hello. Hot enough for you?
Oh, too hot. It's still like 30 degrees, which is like 90 Fahrenheit. Like, just fans everywhere. Just fans. Just far too hot. So before we bring the guest on, I have two announcements. So we have the wonderful Paul Blake Smith coming on, whose new book is going to be out on the 8th of July. That's in 2 days' time. So before that, first one is the start time on a Monday and a Friday is going back to 8 p.m. Yeah, because 7, it's just too much rushing about. 8 p.m. is perfect. Yeah, that is the original time from the very beginning. It was 8 p.m.
Hence Alien 8 UK, so everyone knows when you're on.
It's only Wednesdays 8:30 because Nicole doesn't finish work till 8.
Yeah.
Or 3 p.m. her time. So starting Friday 8 p.m. to Monday, Friday 8 p.m. Wednesday 8:30. Just coming at for 8 o'clock every day of the week. That's all you got to do. You just be sat around for half an hour on a Wednesday. You'll be fine. And the other one is the 24-hour radio station is now up and running.
Hey.
So there's 9 songs on there. So you can listen to the intro music, the outro music, some remixes of it, some other things that have done. So it's all the music that's going to be on there is what anyone sends in to me, Darren, baby with a laser. Or it has to be your own music that you've given permission for me to play on there. So I'm going to treat the radio station like a Audible website.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a page. It's going to have all the stuff on there. I'm just waiting for them to finish off on their end, put it all together. So it is constantly 24/7. Then every interview that I do, I'm going to download the audio and upload it onto there so you can listen to them, and they're just going to play through. So tonight's will be available to listen to at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wednesdays will be available. So it's the alternate day. So you've got every day hit, every other day here, and the rest of the time there. So you have got Alienate UK 24/7.
There you go. What more could you ask
There
for?
you go. Yeah, don't say I don't treat you to anything. So I shall now bring the amazing Paul Blake Smith on. So here we go. Hello, Paul.
Paul.
Welcome, and thank you so much for coming back on.
Thanks for having me. I'm not really amazing, but I'll try to produce some stories today that will be amazing.
Well, you're going to have to be amazing now because I've just picked you up. So, sorry, Paul.
I'll
Anyway.
try.
No, you are. You are. So, obviously, Abby's not interviewed you before. We've met quite a
No.
few times. We've had a few good chats and what have you. So, so I'll let you tell Abby and anyone else that's listening, what's the main thing that you research, your go-to?
I think these three stories next to me are the main thing. Actual historical UFO sagas in America that involve U.S. presidents.
Yeah.
And I would run into occasional bits and pieces of information while researching originally 10 years ago or more, the 1941 Cape Girardeau, Missouri UFO crash. That's my hometown. I wasn't exactly around in those days. But when I was researching this, I kept bumping into the Eisenhower story and a little of the Nixon story.
Yeah.
And all three stories, I thought, these are amazing. Where can I get a book on these things? And you can't. Not a single person has produced a book on any of the three. So I thought, well, I'm a writer. Let's see if I can tackle this. And I try to do a deep dive research into everything and cram as much information into each one of my books to make sure the reader gets his money's worth. And you see where my citations and references and the sources are, that I'm not making anything up. And I piece together what I feel really happened. And in 1941, I think it was America's first UFO crash. And our government has been covering this up since for whatever reason. I think it starts with a 1937 radio broadcast, War of the World, or was that 38? With Orson Welles, who was doing a reading aloud on a radio broadcast of the British author H.G. Wells and his tale of a spacecraft that landed in his original book. It was just outside London and set off a panic there, maybe. But when he changed the story to Grover's Mill, New Jersey, Orson Welles was able to touch off some small amount of panic or at least fear among American citizens. So that had to have been in the mind of the Roosevelt administration long ago. Franklin Roosevelt was the president, our first handicapped president who was confined to a wheelchair. And so they did not want to do anything to roil the stock market or cause another economic depression. People would somehow panic or quit their jobs or quit their religion and upset mainstream society back then. So you can
the New Deal was on tenuous grounds at the time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
it sure was. And so by 1941, we were starting to make some headway by producing weapons of war in manufacturing plants and lend-leasing them to England. And this was really bolstering the American economy. Now we were finally climbing out of the Depression a little bit, and we didn't want to upset that. The Lend-Lease Act happened 1 month before the UFO crash in Missouri. And the crash happened in the middle of farm country where there were a lot of German people living in the Cape Girardeau area. And there was an FBI investigative office opened 1 month before the crash because they were investigating sabotage in the Cape Girardeau area by pro-Nazi, pro-Hitler Bundists out of our German population. They were doing a little sabotage in factories, and they had to send the police out and then the FBI to come to town to figure out what's going on. So right away, you can see why the site of the crash was encircled by the military, and they said, put all this evidence down, the shrapnel debris any alien creature that they had picked up, and they did pick one up and pose him for a photograph. I don't know if that was a wise move, touching this alien being that might have been toxic or have bacteria from their world or inside their spaceship, but they did anyways. So the military arrived that night and encircled the site and took over, and they hushed it right from the start. And you can understand why in the days before America entered World War II, which was going on in your country quite actively, and you were under attack by the Nazis almost on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So Roosevelt had to keep the lid on this until he could sort out what exactly is going on here.
Yeah.
And it might have been a genuine panic if he had taken to the airwaves and said, well, we've got an alien spaceship and it crashed on a farm in Missouri, and there could be more. Keep your eyes open and be vigilant. That might have touched off a genuine hysteria in some places.
Well,
so
the radio broadcast didn't it? The Orson Welles, it caused mass hysteria.
Yeah.
So that's been our policy ever since. There have been other crashes, other sightings, and this used to drive a lot of people really up a wall who have seen actual craft or maybe beings from another world, and you're told you're lying, you're mistaken, you're on drugs, or you're drunk, or you're hallucinating, or it was just a blip, or swamp gas. There's the classic explanation. And it was so ridiculous that Dr. J. Allen Hynek of Project Blue Book was part of that swamp gas explanation in 1966, and he was so disgusted he quit. And he opened up his own MUFON, Mutual UFO Network, for investigating seriously these sightings instead of covering them up. And that's what the government did in those days. If we had a big crash in Missouri today, I guess there would be a cover-up too. I mean, anywhere in America, I would still think that unless the media got there and broadcast this live, like at this big scoop, that there wouldn't be a great expose allowed on the air.
With AI and stuff these days, they just turn around. Any footage that came out would either be faked or like what happened to Andy on the road. They would block the phone so you couldn't take photos or video.
I'll show you that. I'll get you that in a minute. But Paul, would you say now it's easier to do a cover-up or more difficult than, say, back in the 40s or 50s?
Oh, I think it would be more difficult now with, like you say, everyone's got their phone out. You would be taking images and instantly putting this on the internet, and there's not a whole lot you can do except, as Abby points out, this is AI. You can't trust this fakery. It's CGI computer graphics, so don't believe this nonsense. But if you have multiple witnesses and they're putting it on the internet, and it would be tough to say, this is not happening.
Yeah, I was just going to show you the image. So this isn't a photograph because none of my devices were working. So
not even your sat nav.
No, nothing. So I was near Sandringham, of all places, where before he was king, where Prince Charles used to reside. I was probably about 2 miles away from there, and my sat nav on my scanner for work just started playing up and wouldn't do anything. So I tried using my phone wouldn't do anything. Then I noticed some blue light. I pulled over to the side road, noticed some blue lights in my mirror. And then this is identical. If I'd have took a photo, so this is AI, but if I'd have took a photo, this is exactly how it looked as it went past.
Oh my goodness.
So that is better than I could draw it or anything like that. That is exactly what I was looking at. Other than the road, there was houses where the trees are and all that kind of stuff. But what you see on the road was what I was witnessing.
Are those a couple of
blacked out cars, weren't there?
Yeah. Are those a couple of ambulances following the craft there?
No, they're police
vans. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was some playing unmarked cars, but they had the blue lights going. There's about 15 vehicles in total. There's bikes that were going in front for the traffic lights to stop the traffic coming through if they was on green to keep the flow going.
Yeah.
And then they'd drop back, and then two more, and it was just like I could see it for about a quarter of a mile, and it was just that constantly. But to have it on the back of a standard logistics hauling company and transporting it from point A to point B and wherever else in between. And then it's wrapped in that tarp as tight as you can, like it's another skin. You couldn't mistake it for anything else. What? That is exactly the size, the height, the green tarp, the straps on it, everything is exactly the same. What else could that be other than?
Well, they would probably tell you that's just a promotional stunt for a UFO museum or something. You know, it's just man-made.
Yeah, see, I get that, but when you see the low loaders with the big JCBs that do the quarries and all that, they don't have police escort. They just have the orange flashing light escort vehicles, and it's usually one at the back. Or even when they've got the caravan lodges on the back where they've got two, so it's one lodge and it's on two things, and it'll have wide load escort vehicle. They'll have one at the front and one at the back.
Yeah,
you don't have all the blues and twos going, and they don't have some blocking device on your GPS either,
or your phone. No, I mean, I'm decking your van out with 360 cameras, Andy. Because
Honestly,
you see on the road, seriously.
Within 30 seconds before it happened, both me, I was restarting my phone, I was restarting the scanner. Nothing was working until about another 30 seconds after it had passed. And then everything.
Yeah, exactly. They use some high-tech devices to make sure.
Couldn't even take photos. The camera wasn't working. Everything was just scrambled.
Yeah.
Scrambled.
But it's all very innocent.
But they would do the same, wouldn't they? I mean, you look at a couple of years ago when a couple of those drones came down in America that were looking for the missing radioactive material. You know, they had all that cordoned off. People couldn't take photos or videos. You only had the news helicopters at a distance footage of, and you couldn't even see the craft. It was covered over. You just had people in hazmat suits spraying it with God knows what. So, you know, it's like, would you even be able to get that out there, or would it be put down, as you say, like a down drone? Was that a down drone, or was that something else? You know, was it something else looking, what are we doing, you know, at the end of the day? Because it was actually causing a lot of UFO activity when we had all those drones were going on around the world looking for that nuclear waste. Because it's too hot today, my brain's not working. it's like cause and effect, isn't it? Cause and effect, isn't it? You know, they respond to our nuclear activity, shall we say, this UAP phenomena. So what's to say that wasn't something a little bit more exotic than a drone that had gone down? But we'll never know, will we? Because they will not release that sort of thing.
No.
I wish I could say I've seen one on the back of a truck. I wish I could say I've seen one in the sky, but I haven't. I just saw an interview with Steven Spielberg yesterday in which he says, I make all these movies about UFOs, but I've never seen one. So, you know, I'm the same way. I write about them, never seen one. What time of day, by the way, was that when you were driving past and saw that?
That was between 10:30 a.m. and 12 noon.
Okay.
And that was about, I'd say, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, if this was super secret, why would they do this in broad daylight and not like 2:30 in the morning?
This is what
that was my question.
But then, if you've done it at that time in the morning, would it look more suspicious? Are they hiding?
Who's going to be around to see it apart from long haulage drivers?
This is the thing. So there was other cars coming the other way. There wasn't much traffic in front of it. There's a few cars behind the police.
Yeah.
But the cars that were behind the police wouldn't really, unless it was in a van either as high as mine or a truck, they wouldn't have been able to see what was actually on the flatbed because of the amount of police vehicles behind it. It's only because I was pulled up at the side and it literally drove past me, 8 foot away, that I'm like, what the?
Was it fairly slow, like it was not a dire emergency, or were they speeding?
25-ish, if that, 25, 30.
So transporting whatever it was very gingerly and carefully then.
But that's near, it was near like Mildenhall, Lake and Heath. There's a lot of the US, UK RAF bases around that part of the UK. So
that's what I would think, that if it was in broad daylight, what if it was a dire emergency and it has to go wherever it's going for whatever reason? But it is a strange sounding story. You never heard anything in the media?
nope.
Anything online about this?
So where I live, you have the regional news. It covers like Norfolk and Suffolk and all that. So it's like the east and southeast of the UK. So it's just north of Essex, but it covers Cambridge, Peterborough, Norfolk, Suffolk, and everywhere else in between. So we get a lot of news for like around that area, like where Og lives. And there was nothing on that. I had a look online, I checked websites, I even spoke to people that are new out that area, and like, I ain't got a clue what you're on about.
You should have circled around and tried to follow him from a distance. Of course, you'd be in prison right now. Yeah.
I was going to say, Andy would be broadcasting from inside Strangeways.
Probably. Yeah, so nothing, didn't find anything. And I was looking for about 2-3 weeks after that. And then I just give up.
Well, that's an excellent story that shows the cover-up continues. And they've got technology to scramble whatever device you've got to make sure the story remains.
Precisely.
I had that phone in that hand. They had the scanner. It's a zebra scanner. It's like what the post office use for when they deliver parcels. So it has a red scanner thing at the top, the laser. So I'm like that, and I'm both ambidextrous at this point, trying to get them both to work, and I'm restarting and starting. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then that goes past. So I'm like, I'm stuck here. I don't know where I know how to get back, but I need to do my next job, and I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah.
So, and once you get, I knew the village where I was going to, but that's about 1.5 miles off the beaten track. But once you get into that village, you have no signal. You can't phone anyone. There's no data. There's nothing. So I had to know where I was going before I got there.
The black zones of rural England.
Yeah, love them.
Now, you've written a book on the Eisenhower stories. This treaty that President Eisenhower apparently met. I mean, there's 2 different stories on this: that he met the Nordics and they warned him about nuclear weapons, and he had some sort of treaty with the Greys. Now, was this in response to the UFO event that happened over Washington, do you think?
Possibly. That was July of 1952.
Yeah.
And Harry Truman was president at that time. And there's an interview. You can see it on YouTube, a video. A camera crew approached President Truman at the time, like in the halls of the White House or the Pentagon or something. And you said, oh, UFOs, flying saucers. There's always been that sort of thing going on, that sort of whatnot. And we used to discuss it at every conference we had. And wait a minute. You just admitted you discuss UFOs at every military conference you have. They're not supposed to be anything real or of substance. It's just silly business. Why would you be discussing them openly at every, and even talking about this? They caught him on camera saying this from 1952. And Eisenhower was, for some years, a military aide to Truman. So when Truman left office and Eisenhower took over, within a year, Eisenhower agreed to this golf vacation in Palm Springs, 2,700 miles from Washington.
Yeah.
And it was no accident. I think this was pre-planned. For example, if a president was golfing today and he was told an alien craft has landed in the community, they would get him on a plane and he would be out of there so fast it would make your head spin. But I believe they knew in advance with high-tech, high-frequency communication over the past year of Eisenhower being in office. These were friendly beings from another world, humanoid types. An eyewitness said they looked like humans, but not exactly. They were a little misshapen by our standards. So I think by that we can logically guess or speculate that they had maybe wider nostrils or bigger lungs for breathing the air on their atmosphere, on their planet, or larger eyes. So that Eisenhower, according to this eyewitness who spoke up in the early 1980s, he said, I want to get this story out because everyone who's present is dead now, and I don't want the story to die out. Said that Eisenhower was surrounded at all times by his bodyguards, but that he did meet these friendly aliens that looked somewhat human-like. They stepped from 5 different craft, 3 circular, 2 elongated, on a runway at Edwards Air Force Base. I'm sure they had been checked out by Air Force Base officials first before you invite the president over at night. And that Eisenhower spoke to them in English, and they expressed a desire to begin an education program for the people of Earth. And he didn't think too highly of that idea. Again, like Roosevelt, worried that superstitious or rather foolish Americans would panic and think we're being invaded. And then there was the the notion of a Trojan horse, that you send out some friendly creatures or human type astronauts who say we're here in peace, and then you let some in, and then boom, an attack of some kind. Well, that was a legitimate fear, especially for a military man like Eisenhower, that this was not a feint, but this was the real deal. So he turned them down on an education program and asked them, to stay at arm's length and not land and try to talk to people. But he may well have agreed to some kind of treaty that allowed the aliens to come here and take samples and specimens or plants and animals and look over human beings as long as you put them back and maybe wipe their memories. And so, according to one source, an engineer for, I think, like Lockheed Skunk Works or something, he said, I got to read these documents, and Eisenhower told the aliens, well, you're so powerful, what can we do to stop you? So he was boxed in a corner for this agreement, and I think for a while it was adhered to, and then things got out of control with more abductions and examinations of human beings than was first agreed to. And again, what are we going to do about it? They can traverse time and space to come here, and they have advanced craft that they showed off for Eisenhower on the runway at Edwards on February 19th, 1954. And Eisenhower saw all of this and thought, gosh, you people are going to have to go. If you have to stick around and come and go, they supposedly set up a base in the desert of Nevada, which is way out, away from civilization. So that was the basis for the treaty, and whether the treaty was adhered to by both sides, or at least the aliens, I don't know. It's kind of a fuzzy gray area, a bit like you say. Who was he dealing with? And if you make a deal with one race, another one might come in. Well, what about our deal? Yeah. We can make you a better offer or something like that. So it gets sticky that we're being visited by more than one race and with different agendas. Like, what are you doing here? Some are scientifically oriented, and maybe some are scoping us out for gosh knows what, but there's been no invasion or no assault. So I think they're largely benign.
Yeah. I mean, excuse me. I mean, there was meant to be some sort of trade-off, wasn't there? We're gonna experiment on humans and animals. We're gonna test the radiation levels in hence the backdoor stuff. And stuff like that. It's very good for testing radiation, because they have been very, very interested in our nuclear program, whether that be for energy or for weapons. And also as well, with the nuclear testing that went on in America out in seas and up in space and things. So do you think there was some sort of trade-off with advanced tech, or we were given certain types of tech at the time that wasn't too advanced that it would push humanity off course, but something that we could figure out over time and apply to our culture?
Yes. In 2017, a document leaked on the internet, and it was given to a podcaster in America. And I contacted her and asked, could I have this document put in my Eisenhower book? And she said, sure. So the document was from a 1989 Defense Intelligence Agency summary, if you will, a briefing document about extraterrestrials visiting America. And it said that Eisenhower did meet with them, and it's true. And he formed a treaty, and he allowed them to go to this base in Nevada. in exchange, we did get supposedly some alien technology that we could, look over with our top scientists and maybe infuse into corporations and advance our own, probably starting with defense, weapons, weaponizing it wouldn't surprise me, and in other maybe everyday products if possible. But the main thing, according to the document and the eyewitnesses to the encounter in 1954, is the aliens really did not like our atomic test detonation program, in which Eisenhower approved, like Truman before him, setting off all these atomic bombs just to see what will happen, in the sky, on the ground, underground, in the sea. And we were spreading recklessly atomic radiation and nuclear fallout, and it was disgraceful. And these days, largely these things don't happen due to test ban treaties and much more knowledge, scientific advancement in finding out what these things can do. But back in the 40s and 50s, it was just nuts. They were like children playing with matches and dynamite practically. So I think that's a good reason for aliens to sit down and say, we want to talk to the man in charge, and possibly to leaders of other countries. Can you scale back or stop these nuclear tests that you're just spreading this radiation, possibly even leaking into so-called outer space? So this story is quite fascinating, and I put together all the clues and side stories I could, and I really do believe this happened in February 54, and there might have been one or even two other follow-up meetings for Eisenhower during his time in office. And it makes for such a good book, not to brag, but it's been recently signed up by a Hollywood producer, and we're working on a deal to get it turned into a movie. It's apparently going to be kind of an action adventure movie. They're making a lot of progress on this. So I don't want to blow it and jinx it, but we might see this on the big screen. Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Put Spielberg to shame on Disclosure Day.
Yeah. They've offered me a chance to appear as an alien in this movie.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine? Me as a big goony looking alien. When I told them I was 6'6", they said, that's perfect. Oh, we got to suit you up and put you in the movie as an alien. And I'm thinking at first, whoa, how exciting would this be? But wait, if I'm in a costume and all this makeup and you can't tell it's me, what's the point of being in a movie? I could say, that's me on there. That's me up there on the screen. And they'll say, sure it is, Paul. Yeah.
Paul, I hope you've told them how much percentage you want profit from the movie as well.
All I can say is if the movie gets produced, I get a good deal more money. So come on, you producers, start producing.
That's it. Go for points and merch rights.
That's right. So I'm scraping by now on a shoestring budget as usual, but maybe I'll have a little more to retire on in the future. Then there's the same good news for my Richard Nixon, Jackie Gleason book that came out 3 years ago. It's also been snapped up by a Hollywood producer, and progress is slow, as it is for all movies in Hollywood. But I'm told that they really want to turn that into a movie too. So I've signed over the rights to my two books that you see here. And I'm hoping to interest a producer in the Cape Girardeau story from 1941. I think it'd be a great starting point for at least America, our first UFO crash, and President Roosevelt stepping in to make sure that this is not something you ever find out about.
You've got a trilogy off the bat.
Yeah, there you go. And all involves presidents, and Truman was the Grand Master Freemason of the state of Missouri in 1941. And ironically, he had been in the area of where the crash happened 5 months beforehand. It was not too far, apparently, from the Cape Girardeau airport. And Truman was visiting town and went to that airport to inspect it to see if we wanted to turn it into a full-fledged modern, like municipal or regional airport where it would get funding. So he was probably driven right through farm country to get to the airport. And of all the bizarre things, he later became president of the United States. He was an obscure senator back then. And Harry Truman was not given FDR support in the 1940 election. No. Roosevelt wanted to support another Democrat for the Missouri Senate seat. And then suddenly, within a few years, Harry Truman is the man that's just got to be on the ticket. They dumped the current vice president from the early 40s, Henry Wallace, and put Harry Truman on the ticket, knowing that FDR was sick, and he took over. And I believe Truman had full knowledge of the Missouri 41 crash.
Yeah.
And was that a reason they went with him to, basically run the planet, or at least the democratic free world, as president? It's an intriguing thought, at least.
Well, if you already knew he was already in the know, he was already easily controlled, they wouldn't have to spill it to another. I mean, because I think, to be honest with you, not every president gets the full debrief, so to speak.
No.
I think it's a case of if you can trust them or not, or if, they're going to run the mouth, or they... Some presidents do say things that they shouldn't, so to speak, due to medical conditions, Alzheimer's, going back over the president's history, because they're serving a long term, not thinking, they serve a long term over there. We have a cut-off point, I think, in this country with politicians. If you get to retiring age, apart from Churchill, who came back a few times, but we didn't mind that. He kept the Germans away, so
I was just going to say, but I think as well, it's like with the upcoming presidents and former presidents, it's how they behave pre and post. That's going to have a big influence as to what they get told and what they don't get told, and if they're in that inner circle.
A classic example would be Jimmy Carter, president of the United States from 77 to 81. When he was running for president, he openly told the media, if I become president, I'm going to open all the files on UFOs, because I've seen a flying saucer, at least an unidentified flying object, in 1969 when he was governor of Georgia. So he did a complete 180 on this and clammed up and said, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe I saw something else in the sky that day. He barely would discuss it, and there was no revelation. I think someone got to him and said, this is not something we're going to discuss. Yeah. And even to this day, prying secrets out of the American government is difficult. President Trump on February 19th, there's that date again, said that we're going to open up all the files. And we've gotten just a little trickle of some grainy footage and some black and white images of mysterious discs or objects in the sky that you could possibly say, well, that's not a UFO, or it's not alien, it's a drone or something. Just the worst kind of start to this so-called disclosure. We're getting next to nothing from our own government. No files are being downloaded. And in a quick story, the Department of Homeland Security got a hold of these boxes, apparently, I'm told, of UFO files. The CIA came in and took them from the Department of Homeland Security, apparently maybe kind of by force, and said, you're not taking these, you're not exposing these. And they marched right out of the office with them. And this was like this year, 6 months ago or so. So that gives you an example that the government at its hardcore, innermost secret level or private level, including the CIA and the Defense Intelligence Agency, do not want this story out, that they will just wait out Trump, wait for some other president and say, red tape, we've given you some stuff and that's all you're going to get, or like, that's all there is, when the government knows full well since 1941, we've had bodies and craft recovered.
But I think what it could be to do with as well is once they open up these files and people want more than just like what you were saying, Paul, more than grainy photos and grainy videos. They want to know where they're coming from and why they're coming. Then they're going to look into, right, well, who's found this information out? And then there's going to be another list, and there's going to be other files like the Jeffrey files, we'll say, with a list of people, what position they was in at the time, who they was working with, and it's going to have that knock-on effect, and it's going to bring all them circles in, and it's going to out a lot of people.
The money
you've got a great guest in Preston Dennett. He's got lots and lots of stories of sources from people who worked in the government, maybe secretaries or someone who visited an airbase, and he saw this stuff that they were working on, bodies and craft. So be sure to have him on as much as possible.
Oh, we love Preston. We had Preston and Dolly on not so long ago, didn't we? Also, as well, it's where the money's gone as well, because I mean, a lot of these are black books, off the books, and
black
the money
budget.
that's been black budget.
They just call it black budget, and they don't have to declare a penny.
They don't have to declare it, but it's
national security.
Where is all this money gone? And if they do disclose, and if they are unable to ungag these whistleblowers, because at the minute, like the Eisenhower story and things like that, it's come from basically almost deathbed confessions. Like your source said, you know, he didn't want the story to die with him because everybody else has gone. Yep. So it's if we can get the gag orders lifted, if we can make these whistleblowers or so-called whistleblowers be able to come forward, then yeah, I think we will get a lot more disclosure. But this is why I don't think it's going to happen, because you're getting all these scientists that are either disappearing or died, bless them. You're getting all these people that have been, like David Grosh said, you know, that he's been his work, his family life, his personal life, physically, mentally, you know, he's been harassed, been threatened. So they don't want to come forward, do they? But if we can lift this, then maybe we can get a little bit more information.
Yeah, I've got a bit of an argument with that. So Grosh chose to come forward. He didn't. If we look at it from our eyes, he didn't have to come forward.
No.
But if you look at it from backstage, was he pushed forward? Was it?
And who pushed it?
An act?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Was it an act? Was it like, look, someone needs to go and talk. You've got to choose between you three who it's going to be. Is it one of them?
Yeah, it's terribly confusing, where some in government apparently do want to see some disclosure and others like, no chance. Yeah. And we're going to destroy anyone. And as Abby just mentioned, in America, we've got scientists and people with too much knowledge disappearing and being unaligned suddenly when they may be ready to talk, or that they have enough information that would blow the lid off. Yeah, it's frightening. Thankfully, I'm a little nobody, just a little book author. I don't have any great inside source, or I haven't seen the saucer, or an ET. So I'm feeling fine. By the way, I have no plans to this world. An accident, you know.
You're not going out on a long hike. This is good.
Yeah. There's a growing long list of scientists that are just happening to no longer be with us, who apparently knew what's going on. And at the top of that list is a guy named General McCausland, who was in charge of this program, and he's just disappeared. They haven't found his body.
No.
And, his family doesn't know, and it's incredibly suspicious.
But
he walked out and put his phone to factory settings before he went. So he wiped both of his phones. Because who does that? Who puts their phone to factory settings?
Yeah. But look at what happened with Oliver Tree. I'm sure you've heard what's been going on with the documentary that he was going to bring out about Antarctica. And the other stuff,
just a little.
If you go down that rabbit hole, there's so much stuff. Even the lyrics in the music that he was making, if you listen to that, and kind of needs a little, it might just be like pareidolia in music. It needs a little bit of deciphering, but it kind of explains a lot.
You can make anything.
And how much? How much of Steven Spielberg's new movie, Disclosure Day? How much is that? Really real that he has learned? There's been a Hollywood producer who said my good buddy was Tobe Hooper, who was a good friend of Spielberg's. And Hooper told me Spielberg made a deal with the Office of Naval Intelligence for real-life information on UFOs when he made Close Encounters. And he applied a little of that, I think, to E.T., and he's doing so again. That Spielberg has government contacts. And so, lo and behold, we just happen to have a movie on disclosure of alien creatures visiting our world. And you kind of wonder, what does Spielberg know that he may even be holding back? But, he's been allowed to live. That's a good sign. He hasn't gone away. He's talking openly.
He might be up there with him. He might be one of the
former President Obama goading your current president with aliens exist, but I've not seen one, and that's what kicked this whole thing off, wasn't it? This year, it was that, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm going to release the files now. I'm going to," do you know what I mean? Because there's that rivalry.
Didn't really have a choice, did it? See, that again kind of pushed, but even though he's being pushed, he's pushing back as well.
Yeah,
so,
and with David Grush and some others in America. And a congresswoman, Anna Paulina, and Burleson, and so they're all starting to make headlines and get attention for, we want answers, and they're very determined. Well, we can't keep killing all of our, politicians that keep talking about it. Some people feel that Kennedy also wanted to share information, at least with the Soviets. That was controversial at its time. Now, the mafia wanted JFK dead, and that was probably the main reason. But when he began talking about sharing information with the red nations or communist nations, it probably was like the last nail in the coffin. And other presidents can look at that, and say, I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Dallas.
Well, the thing as well is, to be honest, we could do with other European countries coming out and saying, we've got files as well, and this is what we've got.
Yeah.
If it becomes, I suppose, more of a collective, but not in a group state, a collective of different countries wanting to release files, then everyone's going to be pushed, and it's going to have to happen.
Well, Brazil did that, didn't they? Just as they were doing this, one of the press conferences. And they were talking.
Came and it been and gone.
No, as I say, the press didn't pick it up because it was the 96 incident, wasn't it, where they the two girls actually met this alien or non-human intelligence, and they turned around and said it was a man with physical deformities, that he was medically handicapped, but it wasn't. They actually flew bodies back to America. They flew this entity, this being back to America, as well as witnesses and all the rest of it, and then told them to hush up. But the Americans have denied this, and I think that's why Brazil was just like, well, no, we're just going to release it. If you're not going to, we will.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little disconcerting in that comedian Jackie Gleason was obsessed with UFOs and ETs. He would call up UFO authors and quiz them, and then call up the experiencers that are in the UFO books in his day and quiz them intensely. He knew every detail of every story. So he finally goaded Richard Nixon into taking him to Homestead Air Force Base on February 19th, 1973, the 19th anniversary of the Eisenhower encounter at an Air Force base in California. And when Jackie came back that night, he was all shook up and pale and smoking and drinking more than he usually did, which is really saying something because he could put it away. And if Jackie had a reaction like that, and he was used to UFOs and ETs, then the government took a look at Jackie and said, we really can't release this because the average John Q. citizen, they're not nearly as prepared as Jackie was. His wife asked him when he got home that night, what happened to you? Why are you all pale and shaking? And he told her, Nixon showed me the proof at last. He showed me the alien bodies. Said there were 4 of them, I think 4 or 5, laid out on examining tables at a kind of special lab at Homestead Air Force Base. And Nixon just showed it to him. And there's a rumor that Jackie was also shown a craft, a disc, in an airfield hangar at that time. And he went home with this knowledge. So it kind of makes me wonder, what else did Jackie Gleason see? But that his reaction was, he didn't work in show business hardly at all for the next 2 or 3 years. He was so wound up. His wife said he would thunder angrily at the government for keeping all of this information from the public. And then he would be all giddy. His mood changes to, he's all excited. I got to see the proof at last, me exclusively among all civilians. And the president of the United States showed it to me personally. So it's a little disconcerting that Jackie reacted so badly. it makes you wonder what really went on that night, and what are we not being told to this day.
It seems that someone, with what you've just said, that in between them two different emotions, that someone or some people spoke with him. For it
Yeah,
to
told him to keep
transition
his
from
mouth
one,
shut, but he broke that
from one
that
side
night.
to the other. Yeah, it's that grey bit in the middle, isn't it?
I'm sure Jackie Gleason was told before he left that airbase, you keep your mouth shut. This never happened. So he promptly broke that vow when he got home, and his wife was deeply concerned. Like, what happened to you? And it's the same way in the Cape Girardeau UFO story. A Cape Girardeau pastor, a Christian minister, went home, and he was all pale and shook up. And his family said, what happened to you? Where have you been? And he said, that phone call? I was told it was an airplane crash. So we went outside of town to a farm outside of Cape Girardeau, and we found this circular disc with these 3 strange spacemen on the ground. And so he was really shook up, and he became more introspective, I think, in the time afterwards. And there was nothing to prepare him in those days. In 1941, we didn't have TV shows and movies and comic books about aliens. It wasn't mainstream at all. It had to be a total shock to the system. Today, I don't think people would be shocked at all.
No. We've been spoon-fed. We've been, since the 50s at least, we've been spoon-fed in pop culture, in comic books, cartoons, movies, radio broadcasts, TV programs, popular culture. We've been spoon-fed this ET narrative, haven't we? So it's not going to be a massive shock to yes, back in the 40s and 50s when everyone was on the end of the Second World War and heading into the Cold War, everyone was on a knife edge. So you can imagine you're not wanting to panic the populace. But nowadays it's just like, aliens, okay, now what? Can we have a bit of better technology than spoon up the planet? That'd be good.
About being spoon-fed, so they know the drip feeding us from like day one.
Yeah.
But even up until now. And I'd say, 30% are ready? Of us weirdos is what I'm talking about.
Spielberg and disclosure. Timing.
Yeah. I've still not watched it because there's too many bad reviews outnumber the good reviews.
Yeah, so I've read quite a mixture of reviews. Some people love it, and some say, "Oh, this is awful! What a lousy movie!" Everyone some people stood up and walked out on the movie.
Yeah.
I'm told it's more of an espionage thriller than a UFO movie, but I'll reserve judgment and go and see it myself someday.
Yeah. I'll wait until it's on TV and then
I might.
Well, the timing of it. You don't just bang out a blockbuster in 2 weeks, as you know, Paul. Hollywood takes its time. Even the pre-production can take up to 10, 20 years on a project. Things can get shelved, things get picked back up again, funding drops out. The studio. So I know Spielberg is royalty.
No, I was going to go down another one that I've got to be very careful with what I say, but look at what else got rolled out in 2 weeks during the beginning of 2020. So, and that was a mass.
Do you two hear something about the year 2027 that allegedly a CIA man said something is coming next year? What do you know about that? Because I know next to nothing.
So a good friend of mine, who will remain nameless, has said to me, this is me again telling you, but I honestly, this is all I know.
This is Andy's famous trick. He tells you something without telling you. He'd be good in the government. You'd be good in Congress.
Yeah. So this person has got a lot of contacts in the UK and the US, good friends with a lot of UFO personnel.
Oh, I think I know you're on about, yeah.
And he's been given some information from high-ranking officials of some sort that 2027 is going to be the year where everything comes to light.
Changes, yeah.
He can't give any names, he can't give any detail, but just not so much be prepared, but be ready for what gets released.
You've got
good credibility.
That's all I can tell.
Your source has good credibility and good background.
Yeah. Because
I think it's who I think it is. Yeah.
The people he knows like, I know I'm friends. We've got in the field of the paranormal, we've got quite a lot of mutual friends, and we've met up a few times, and a lot of people that have been on the show are good friends with both of us and vice versa. And I spoke to him about other people that are big names over in the US, and I've asked him his opinion on them, and he's been truthful with me about every single one of them. So when he says something like that, and he has told me some stuff that I can't repeat, but then he's told me this that he's not even told me. And that is all I can say because I don't know anything of it. But I trust him 100%.
Well, he told us about the whistleblowers about to come out weeks before it happened, didn't it?
Yes.
So
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
but why 2027? That they've been saying this for a few years now. What is coming that?
It's something to do with what you were saying earlier about some agreement between us and them. And it's like, I think from what I can gather, they've been given, Earth has been given an ultimatum to release information by a certain time. And if it's not done, then they're just going to come and do it themselves, basically.
Land and go, oh yeah, you're right, mate.
No,
Stop
they
it.
can do this at any time, though. You know,
and it's not going to be to wipe us out or anything like that. Because if they're going to do it, they're just going to do it. They're not going to muck about and drip
Why
feed
wipe out
and
their own
do
creation? At the end of the day, we're a surveillance project, basically.
They probably need us more than we need them. I'm not saying we do. I might be completely wrong on that. But I think that's literally the ultimatum. You've got X amount of years or decades or whatever to sort it out. If by then it's not been done, we will do it ourselves. That's the gist that I get from it.
Is that sort it out as in disclose, or is that sort it out human race grow up and stop doing what you're doing sort of thing?
I think it's a little bit of everything. It's like sort yourselves out, stop being a-holes and get your act together and clean it.
We got a lot of those.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in America. We've got a lot of those.
We've got a load in the UK. One's just gone, thank God. But anyway.
Not quite gone yet.
Well, he's on his way. And then it's
hanging on in there.
It's going to be like disclosure. It's like, look, you tell them the little bits that you've been given to tell, and we'll come in and we'll tell them what they need to know. Not so much every single little bit of detail, because they're going to hold a lot of it back, but just the bits and pieces to not freak us out too much, I think. That's just my opinion. It might change tomorrow. I might be like, I was chatting crap yesterday. I don't know what I'm on about.
The thing is, if we had full disclosure, the control grid would just collapse because they wouldn't be able to control anything. And
this is what I was saying when Martin Abbas and John is his name, Richard, the physicist, and they were saying it's like the vulnerable. You've got all these collective groups that are big groups that are it's gonna have a bigger effect on it's the mental health issues and strategy and all that. So you've got the old vulnerable, disabled, people that are mentally challenged. You've got religious groups. You've got children that don't really understand what's going on. I know they're quick at learning, but it's having to explain to them what's happening as well. So you've got all these different
readily accept it more, to be honest with you, because they're more open and full of wonder, where we're very jaded as we get older. We're told this isn't real, that's not real. Groups.
And then you've got the non-believers, not just the non-religious ones, because you've got all these, I suppose, cult type groups of people that don't accept anything. So you've got it's pleasing everyone. Yeah.
It would be nice to convince people all around the world and have them take it calmly. And you still got to go to work, you still got to go to school, or whatever organization you're a part of. It doesn't really change anything, just to know that we are being visited and we're not being attacked. Although you hear the occasional hostile story or two.
Yeah.
But I think people would take it pretty much, not in stride, but how about that? It's amazing. Oh, well, got to go to work today. Got to earn a living.
Well,
I think we'd start demanding more, though. If we knew the full story and we knew what was going on, we'd start demanding more of our governments. We'd start demanding more of our leaders. We'd start demanding more of these big corporations that pretty much run the world to actually do things ethically with the technology that's been given and stop, put people instead of profit, first.
Are they not doing that already? I'm
no.
very, very shocked to learn that right now.
Well, we are, but not effectively, because apparently there's not another way. But if we're presented with a better way, then there's no excuse, is there?
But do you not think, though, if we got told, look, they are here, they are among us, they're observing us, they're doing this, this, and this, do you not think as well it'd be a bit of a relief? It's like, finally, you've actually grown a pair, you've pulled your fingers out your ass, and you've told us that something is actually going on, and not just showing us these black and white grainy photos that could be absolutely anything. Just admit what's going on, and then we can find the rest out as time goes by. You don't need to know everything all in one go.
No, but we're not being told everything in one go. We're being drip fed, and I think the collective of people in this field would, I think, to coin the vulgar phrase, "No shit, Sherlock." Really, aliens? That Who knew?
One thing that's coming up to work are drones. People have drones, and they're sending up them at night with lights, or the government's been doing so. And if you have official disclosure, how are you going to just have these goofballs sending up drones? Hey, look, it's an alien craft, and causing maybe not a panic, but a crazy reaction all over the world from just jerks being at play, sending up stuff in the air to try to fool people and saying that's part of the alien disclosure. It's really going to be
anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if there's an official announcement, or aliens do show themselves in the aftermath, we're going to all be looking around like saying that's them over there, and boy, there are going to be a lot of mistaken identities, I guess.
That happens though anyway, though. I mean, people who mistake satellites and the ISS. I mean, last night I saw the ISS go over, and I was like, oh, and I looked it up though, because I just thought, oh, is it or isn't it? So I looked up the way, and it was the ISS going over. So these things are misidentifications readily happening anyway. So
true. Yeah. Hopefully it'll work out in the end.
It will. I think we got some questions, haven't we, Andy?
We have. So from Stephen Collin, one of our moderators, he would like to know, question for Paul. Am I right in thinking that that George Washington had an encounter at Valley Forge?
Oh, yes.
There's a rumor that he may have seen something, and possibly in the woods, or it's kind of fuzzy. And since there was very little recording of information in those days, barely we had any newspapers. So it's so much rumor and word of mouth spread around. And it's going to be impossible to tell at this late date.
Apparently Christopher Columbus as well spotted something as he was following over, but he saw mermaids as well, so it's just like okay.
He might have been in the craft.
He might have been in the craft. There you go.
Who knows?
Well, there you're going back to ancient Babylonian and the fish gods there, so yeah.
What would be helpful is a written account from someone of credibility of Columbus, Washington, or even Lincoln in the 1860s, and people history. And we've decided to release this, and it's in their handwriting, and it's yellow paper, but talking about what they saw. That would be helpful.
That would be good.
So do you think they've got that? Do you think they've got it and then just not showing it? It makes sense if they have.
Yeah, are very limited, but at least presidential papers are scoured very tightly for national security reasons. So even to this day, things from like 100 years ago, just a few, maybe 10 years ago, we finally learned was in the pockets of Abraham Lincoln when he was shot. And our government kept this from us. He was wearing gloves, he had a wallet, he had some upper glasses, and what was the point of keeping this secret from the American public for so long? And it's just an example of unnecessary secrecy.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
scandal. He had some gloves in his pocket.
Yeah.
Oh no, it might get cold.
I'm
Oh, no, they
going
might
to
think I've done
swoon
something
at that
bad.
one. That was just far too much information for me. It's scandalous. He had gloves in his pocket. Why?
I know.
What?
It took,
As you say,
it
it's
took over
unnecessary.
100 years to get this released, and it's like,
Why?
what hope is there for really shocking stuff if this mundane stuff is withheld from us for so long?
Are
Do
they
you not
actually
think
going to admit Roswell? You know?
Do you not think they're saying they need to run all this through Parliament and Congress and everything before they can get it through? And it gets so far through, and they're like, you know what? We're not going to release this. Just give them anything. Just make some up, write on a bit of paper, and we'll give them that, and we'll say that's what it is we've been trying to put out there, because that's what it just seems to be all the time.
That's what they did in the UK. They shut the UFO desk and just released the files. They didn't release the Cyprus event. That didn't end up in there. Rendlesham did. They had to. You know, they could not put Rendlesham in there. But that's what they did over here. They're like, yeah, there's the files. We're going to give you a dumping, like, you know, over 2 years worth of, half of it's redacted, most of it's civilian sightings, and most of it's probably misidentification. So,
but look at Tantor in Wales.
Yeah.
Was it 96, 2000? Sure it was 96. So that was like the military were knocking about for a few days before and afterwards, and they're still saying that nothing went on.
Yeah.
And all that's now coming to light with what Kaz Clark was saying, because a lot of people weren't believing her.
Yeah.
Now people have started coming forward and going, yes, I was in a neighbouring valley or village or something, and they do recall all this stuff happening. I think a lot of people was same sort of thing. We're told not to say anything.
Whether it's England or America or around the world, politicians can be so slimy and so dodgy that do we trust them when they want to come out?
No.
I mean, they're the ones that we call liars in the first place. So we can't seem to trust the military, and government agencies and politicians looking into it are our best hope. You know, sometimes I just want to bang my head against a wall.
Yeah.
Oh, no matter whose party you support, the government always gets in.
Yeah. But it's like Sarah's just put, they admit to finding a new species all the time. You know, when they say they found a new species of insect, a new species of that.
Yeah.
How do we know that kind of like not gaslighting us a bit by meaning they found a new species of alien? Maybe it's not a creature of Earth, but something different.
It's a little bit of an I can't say that word, anthropological thing, though, isn't it? We view ourselves as the apex predator. We are the top of the species. We are the top of the food chain. So it's a case of, if they release the fact that there is someone more advanced than us, you know, we are no longer top of the food chain. We are bottom dog. We are now, you know, in our primitive survival minds, prey, or in our egotistical minds, the lesser species. And we all know how humans react to that. So it's
we're thrown crumbs, and we have to put the crumbs and the clues together. Decades, like Cape Girardeau was 1941, 85 years ago, and Roswell was 47, and the Eisenhower 54, and we're still trying to piece this together from you know, little leak pieces and stories, and so it's just very frustrating all around.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we shall find out. We shall come back in 2027. Well, hopefully we'll get you on before then again, Paul. But we'll come back in 2027.
I'm going to be back before then as well.
Yeah, you better be.
Hopefully we'll all be alive and be better informed at that time.
Yes. And maybe finding out what's meant to be going on in 2027. Is that going to come to pass? Oh, before I do go, do you know that they've classified AI Atlas? The imagery and the it's just under secrecy. There's a lot of stuff that apparently they haven't put out, and it's actually being classified under
from the James Webb.
Yeah.
But hasn't it gone? It was traveling at like 7 billion miles an hour or something stupid like that.
Why do they need to classify something that was meant to be a comet?
It's passed through, and now it's like
passed through.
So many
it's back again, it's gone again, it's here again, it's gone again. They kept changing it, you know.
It'd be on the moon for a couple of days.
Oh, it did, yeah.
Yeah.
There used to be a movie called
Red
Police
Moon, the
Squad with Leslie Nielsen, and he played a cop.
Oh, I love that.
Remember
I love
that? And there's a
Yeah.
huge series of explosions. Nothing to see here. Move along. Nothing for you to
Brilliant.
get concerned about, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously there is, and I think that puts it pretty well.
Yeah.
Sorry, hid behind the sun, not the moon. I
No,
always
we
get the
went
two
beyond the
mixed
moon
up.
for a bit this time.
No, the Free Eye Atlas hid behind the
Yeah.
sun, didn't it? Had a
Yeah.
pit stop. So was it recharging? Who knows? But before we go, Paul, so you've got a book release in 2 days' time. So can you
Yes,
tell
I
us
did the original
when-
book and released it in 2016. It's now 10 years later. I've got a few revisions to make, and I've got some updates and some new information. Nothing blockbuster, but I think it's a really good book. And I've heard some good things from people who've read it. And it comes out July 8th on Amazon. And hopefully it will help to turn some more heads and, you know, get people's attention that we are being visited. And this has happened as long ago as 1941, and that we are being observed, and there's nothing much we can do about it. It's just that we wish our government would be honest and open with us. So this where it seems to start in America, and I hope that people in all countries are able to access the book and enjoy it and ponder the possibilities.
Yeah,
I like it.
Thank
Can't wait
you.
for that to come out. And we can pop the link on this one when it comes out, Andy. Pop the link in the description.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Put it in.
fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. That's what we
So-
want. No more gaslighting. No more swamp gaslighting. You know?
We
No.
need to put Abby in charge in the government, I think.
Yeah,
What
there you
if
The
they
go.
world would be doomed.
Office-
The world
Yeah.
would be doomed.
Office of Information and Dissemination there.
You can't make it any worse than it already is.
Thanks for
So-
your vote of confidence, partner.
It's a
You're
bonus.
welcome. You got my support. There's one vote in your favor.
There you go.
And I can't vote in England, so, you know, there's a lot of good this does.
As long as you're back here every Monday at 8 o'clock, it's
Yeah, I'll
fine.
be
Do
back
whatever
here.
you want.
No, I'm not going for England. I'll go for world domination. Sort you all out. Yeah, just bang all your heads together.
Well, I sure thank the both of you for having me on. And I hope
Well,
we've
thank
given
you.
your viewers a lot to think about. All
Definitely,
sorts
thank
of
you.
topics. They're all interesting. And to get people to gradually open their minds that, yes, we are being visited, and there could be not only other planets with civilizations, but other dimensions. And scientists are now looking into that
Yes.
this is an interdimensional reality of which we're just barely tapping into
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
Definitely. Most definitely. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Paul. It's been fascinating. It's been great
All
to
right.
finally meet you.
Sure. Yes,
Thank you.
it's
All the
been
best
good.
for the book launch.
Yeah, so when
Thank
your
you
next
again.
book's coming out, give me a shout and we'll get you back on. No, we'll get you back on
Okay,
before then.
sounds like a
Yeah.
plan.
Well, give
Yeah.
us a chance to read it, and then we can talk about what's in the book.
Yeah.
Oh, no, because Paul might be on in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh,
if I
is
recall
this the
correctly.
24?
Yes.
Ah,
speak
we
to
shall see you
Nicola?
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll sort something out anyway. Right, so thank you again, Paul. Love having you on the show.
Oh, it's
Wealth
been
of
brilliant.
information. And yeah,
You're
go
welcome.
to Amazon to get his books. Just
Right.
Paul Blake Smith, and you'll find them on there. And the new one will
Correct.
be out on the 8th of July, 2 days' time. So that's
And I've got
everything.
everything crossed for the movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, if you need any
Believe me,
standby,
I'm double crossed here. Yes.
if you're looking
Yeah.
for any extra aliens, you know
Are
where
you
we are.
6'6"? Yeah.
I can be.
I think I can get away with playing a grey. I'm only 5 foot, so I don't think I'll get away with the Nordic. Unless you give me some stilts.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
see if anything gets made, or maybe the government just stomps on it and says, "No, you're not making this." So
Yeah.
that's possible.
You
Oh
never
no, if
know.
they can let Spielberg, they can let you. So you know.
You say to him, "Do you know who I am?"
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, go
yeah,
from
that'll
there.
make a lot of impact. Yeah.
Right. So thank you everyone so much. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Darren, Stephen, for doing the modding. Thank you to all the new subscribers. We are gradually creeping up to the 7K mark. We're just 200 and something short from 7K. Can't do me math right
Congratulations.
now. It's head hurts. New people in the chat. If you are watching and not coming in the chat, please do come in the chat and ask more and more questions. Alienate UK radio station is now live. It's 24/7, quite literally. This will be going on there as obviously audio, but there's music on there and there's loads of other stuff that's going to be going on there as well. And that's it. Oh, and if you do want to help with funding the channel, because it does get quite expensive and the prices go up every year, there is a GoFundMe. If you scan this QR code, unless I delete it. There we go. Sorry, guys. If you scan that, you can go on there. You can donate as little as £1, or you can super chat and super stickers. So that's everything.
Also, as well, please like, subscribe, and hype.
Yes, there we go. Oh, do you know why you've not been able to hype?
Yes, why haven't I been able to hype?
No one has, because I've gone into settings to check something for the Google Ads, and there's now a hype button that you have to physically turn on.
Oh, I'll have to do that then, because I've been looking for because I've hit 500, 600 now. Thank you guys, I really do appreciate it. The channel is growing. We love you.
Go into settings, go to permissions.
Yeah,
settings, permissions, advanced, and scroll down and you'll see it. That wasn't there before. You've got to turn it on. You'd think they'd turn it on by default. So quickly, yes, Simon, Alienate UK radio station online. I'm waiting for them to create the app. It'll be available on Google Play and Apple App Store in the next few days, I hope. So you can just go on it and download it, and you can listen to all the outros, all the music, some of the music that I've not released yet. And over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be creating more music and putting it all on there. Don't judge me. It's all AI. I don't care. It's the only way it's going to get done.
Are you playing us out with your little ditty that you made me?
Oh, yeah. So I'll play this one quickly. Sorry for keeping you, Paul. So we'll do the sound first.
Ah, you stealing monkey.
There you go. That's her being polite. And then we'll do just wait, it's only 30 seconds.
Stealing monkey. Stealing monkey. Stealing monkey.
Yeah, royalties for that one.
Stealing monkey. Stealing monkey.
I like the way you put the beeps in. I didn't actually swear.
I didn't put the. Oh, did I? Oh, yeah. I got to put the beeps in. So not only can I do AI video, I can do AI music to whatever you want. So ask Nicola. I've sent her a few for things that I'm not going to talk about on here. But anyway, that's it. So thanks again, everyone in the chat. Thank you, Paul and Abby. Thank you. And we will be back on Wednesday at 8:30 UK time, 3:30 Eastern time, 2:30 Central time, where we will have a surprise guest joining us.
Oh, and I'm back as well on Wednesday because we're not recording.
It'll be myself, you, David, Nicole, and another one. So I'm going to tell you. So on that note, I'm going to go because I need to eat. So thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much, Paul. Take care, guys.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Signal acquisition initiated. Cross-referencing anomaly archives. Pattern recognition complete. Aether 8 online. Proceed.
Welcome back. You found it again. The UFO Files. Broadcasting round the clock on Alienate UK. Red-eye listeners, insomniacs, sky watchers, van drivers on the long haul. You're tuned to the only station that stares back at the dark with you. 24 hours, we circle the same old questions. Lights over the north, shadows over the south, phone lines open. Headphones on, blinds half drawn. I got case notes spread like takeaway menus. Highlighters bleeding through until sunrise. Coordinate scribbled on coffee stained napkins from a truck stop somewhere near the East Coast. We don't do jump scares here. We do the long stare out the window at 3:33 a.m. when the estate's asleep and the sky feels too crowded. You call him with that voice, half whisper, half dare. First time chatter, long time watcher, and the hairs rise on every neck in frequency range. Maybe it's satellites, maybe it's stories we tell, so we're not alone in these flickering terraces and rented rooms. Either way, keep your dial right here. This is the UFO Files. Alienate UK. All night, every night. Welcome back.
Alien 8 UK.